Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak to all Muslims community around the globe. On the merits, setting up a conversation is not an inclusive process that enable anyone to get involved automatically within the target situation. On the other way round, communication is commanded by several representatives, which are related to what? Related to word choice, lexical sentence formation, place environment, etc. So, what we mean by these features is that language that we're going to produce during the conversation should be based on the following elements. So today I will tackle the applied linguistics, how to apply your language based on several characteristics, based on several features. You need to focus on them and produce words carefully in order to cope or be familiar with the target situation. So the lesson of today, it has to deal with applied linguistics, of course, and we are going to deal with a narrow topic. It is called language appropriation. What do we mean by here is that we produce an appropriate language based on the characteristics that I'm supposed to mention them now. The first thing, before having a conversation with anyone, with the recipient, you need to consider that the setting. You need to consider the first element is called setting. What do we mean by setting? It means place. So the first thing is setting. Setting here refers to the place you are engaged with. The language will change based on the environment, based on the place where you are having such a dialogue. For example, you can speak language formally at school, but when you go home, you produce informal words is not the same. So here, setting has an effect on our way of speaking. So we can extract from this one formality and informality. The first thing is formal language. So at school, and informal language at home. So this is the antonym. At home, right? The second element that must be taken into consideration is participants. You cannot speak in a randomized way without realizing your recipient, your audience. When you produce your words, you need to be careful about the sensitivities, about the respect, how we can say it, the desire to respect other people based on their rank. When you speak to your father, it's not the same when you speak to your friend, right? The language change. When you speak to your teacher, it's not the same when you speak to someone else. So appropriacy is based on participants. whether the one you are talking to is your father, teacher, friend, or anyone, co-worker or whatever. So here the language change, the intonation, the pitch of sound, anything that has to deal with the linguistics cannot be done, as I said at the beginning of this video, in inclusive way. You must produce a specific word based on the situation you are dealing with. This is the first thing, participants. Second thing, the third feature is gender. So, you might have a prior experience about language and gender, so we can extract from these gender that we can make a relationship, between language and gender. You want to say if there is a relationship between language and culture? Of course, indeed, we have a relationship between these the preceding how we can say it, elements. Language changed based or change based on what? Based on the sex, or male and female. When you speak to your men, when males or men talk to each other, they cannot produce the same utterance, the same way of speaking when they tackle the opposite sex. So referring to female. When you talk to women, you cannot speak as the same way you used to do it with your friend or with the same sex. So the language should be taken into consideration when we focus on sex, or male or female, right? So here gender has an effect on our affects our way of speaking. When we talk to the opposite sex is not the same when you talk to the same sex, right? Gender. The fourth one, we call it channel. This channel means the language, the means of language you are using, or communication, is guided by your way of using it. When you speak by phone, right, is not the same when you speak face to face. When you have a virtual conversation with someone from another culture, is not the same when you speak to him in a real setting, right? This is another influence. We call it channel. Fifth one is sociocultural rules. So, sociocultural. Language and society, and language and culture at the same time. Here, what we mean by sociocultural rules, language is connected with culture, of course. We need to be aware of the sensitivities that other cultures may be affected by it. We need to be aware of cultural mistakes. Some cultures, they speak different language, whether directly or indirectly. Simply put, when you speak by using verbal or non-verbal aspect conveniently based on the characteristics of the target culture, here you should you can avoid sensitivities and be aware of their features. This is the meaning of sociocultural rules. The final element is topic. So the sixth. It is called topic. What do we mean by topic? The word choice or the lexical lexis, vocabulary that we are going to apply when we speak about any particular topic is not the same. For example, when you talk about sport, you are going to use a vocabulary related to sport. When you talk about education, you are going to produce words that is connected with the field of education. The same thing applied to other field. This is the meaning of topic, right? That was all. I hope you understand what I'm referring to. And thank you again, thank you very much for your kind attention, and see you for the upcoming video.